Hey, what's going on there, everybody? Cloud of Truth here with some more Medal of Honor Warfighter gameplay. And today, I've got a nice round of Hotspot on Sarajevo Stadium for you all. It's going to be a flawless, actually, one of the first ones. Actually, it might be I don't know if it's the first one I've uploaded. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm using Spec Ops class with the HK MP7, and the only thing I can tell you about this gun that I know in terms of attachments is that I've got the iron sights, and that is it. I do apologize. I'm not one of those people that just sits there and, oh, okay, I've got this attachment and this one, I've got this in the muzzle, this kind of barrel. I just pick the one and try to see if it works, and if it doesn't, I switch to something else and find the one that does work. So I do apologize. If you are someone that likes to know, I honestly do not remember, except that I do have the iron sights, which I'm guessing in speculation is something that many people don't use. Most people probably run the small reflex or the holographic. Personally, those are probably better optics of choice as opposed to the iron sights, but I feel like it kind of puts it, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit unique, different than the mainstream, even though many people say, oh, you're using MP7. There's only a certain number of guns in this game, so in terms of being mainstream, that's not really an argument you can make. Hopefully you guys enjoy this gameplay. Like I said, it is a flawless. I do kind of start out playing a little bit slower. I'm not really camping, I would say, in any means, because first of all, I am defending, and defending, what am I going to do, run in their spawn and die over and over again? You can't really rush that much as a defender and just, keep slaughtering the team over and over again, because eventually you're going to kill them all, push them back to their spawn, and if you rush in there, you're going to die. So what I actually end up doing is playing a little bit more slow, but I also cover flank routes, which my team doesn't seem to do, especially on a map like Sarajevo Stadium, where it comes to hotspot for the most part at every bomb site. It's pretty much open. You can go almost anywhere, and so flank routes are very important to cover, and that's what I try to do during this match in order to secure a victory for our team. Now, I did cut out some of the early parts of this game just because I didn't want you guys to sit through the boring early sections where I just don't get that many kills. So hopefully, I think it's right now from this point forward, there's going to be no more cutting out. You're just going to watch gameplay from this point until the end. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this gameplay. Now, today's commentary is not going to be about the gameplay at all. It's going to be about the Medal of Honor franchise. Now, since you guys know that EA has dropped it off, which I talked about it. I did a video about the franchise, kind of the future of it, a couple of months back before we knew that it had been dropped by EA. And that was kind of speculation then in terms of what could happen to it, and I think I might have even hinted at that during that commentary. But I did two more recent videos about talking about the whole EA Medal of Honor drop-off situation and what could possibly replace that. If you're curious, I'll probably link those in the description. May or may not, just if I get the time to do so. If I remember to, I will. But with this one today, I want to kind of go into a couple things, really the history of Medal of Honor, what made the franchise what it is, and why it failed in respect to us as gamers, it being our fault. Was it our fault that this franchise failed? Not really EA, not the developers. Were we the ones that caused Medal of Honor to die? That caused this franchise to be pulled from development? I'll get more into that a little bit later on. First, let's start off with the history of this game, which many people do not even realize how old this franchise is in terms of the modern big-name military shooters. Medal of Honor, the very first game, came out in 1999. I have played that game. Actually, my brother's the one that owns it. I don't own it myself, but I have played it, and it was a blast. I remember playing that game. It's actually been probably... I went back and played it. I didn't play it right when it came out. It's probably been, I would say, 5 years ago or so is when I actually got to play the game, and even though it was a very, very old game, it was still so much fun, and I really enjoyed it. For those of you, that are wanting a reference, Call of Duty came out in 2003, if I recall correctly, and Battlefield franchise began in 2002. So, you can make an argument that both Battlefield and Call of Duty have stolen and ripped off of Medal of Honor, because Medal of Honor was the first, not like the originators of the military shooter games, but they were one of the first ones that captivated a large audience. Now, that's obviously a different topic for a different time in terms of, ripping off who, whatnot. I'm not trying to point any fingers here or anything like that. That's not the goal at all or intention of this commentary. It's just kind of giving a reference that Medal of Honor has been around for a very, very long time. Now, the entire franchise of Medal of Honor, really from the beginning, has been based around the World War II era. That's where the development of this game in terms of the time period it was placed in, and that is what I feel like many people would, including myself for the most part, feel like that's where this game really, its roots are at, is the World War II type of shooters. And so when Medal of Honor, especially the last couple of years, started to move away from the military type of shooter, or not military, the World War II type shooters, a lot of people didn't like that. But the World War II types of games had been made for so long that they were really running dry in terms of new things, new ideas, because a lot of the stuff had already been developed, and some of it had been redeveloped over and over again. And so eventually you get to a point where you just don't have anything anymore in that era, and you've got to move on. And Call of Duty and Battlefield were moving towards the modern day shooters in terms of the time, that it was placed at. And so Medal of Honor, in a sense, they were straggling along a little bit in terms of that. They tried to stay within that era of World War II for a very long time until eventually really they were forced to push up into the modern day era, which many people would consider to be kind of the demise and the beginning of the fall of the franchise. Which in some respects, yes, but I also feel that kind of leads me into my next point of the fault of the failing of this franchise being our fault as gamers. Now, the entire fail or just the demise of the franchise is not alone down to us as gamers. There's obviously more issues that played into it, some more things that we don't even know, will never know. There's some things that we may be the answer, and we're never going to figure it out or never know, just because that's something that EA is going to keep private, because that's just how they are, and that's just what they're going to do. There's many secrets hiding in EA that, oh boy, if those ever got out, oh geez, that would be interesting to say the least. But over the last couple of years, there has been a huge outcry for realism in video games. People want it to be more modern, realistic, which it's not realistic. Video games are not in any way. You've got a controller, you're sitting on a couch, or you got a keyboard and mouse looking at a monitor. This ain't real life, all right? You want real? Go join the military. That's real, not video games. But people want those kind of realistic feeling aspects within a game. So Call of Duty kind of branched off into more of the faster pace, I'm really trying to phrase this correctly in terms of what it really did. It seemed to get that kind of semi-realistic feel in terms of what goes on with there, but it also had that fun arcadey feel to it, and it crossed it pretty darn well, which is one of the reasons why they were such a huge success. Battlefield, instead of going for the more faster-paced arcadey type of feel, went for the overall aspect of the battle, of the war. They went for everything, not just the infantry combat. They did focus some on that. I mean, vehicles, tactics, everything like that is what the Battlefield franchise went for, and they've done, for the most part, a pretty good job. Obviously, there's a few mistakes they made here and there, some things that I think are just terrible about it, but hey, that's my opinion. But both of them, they had aspects about them that people were relatively pleased with in terms of having their ultimate, realistic feel about the game. So when Medal of Honor 2010 came around, which was about the time EA just started to toy with Warfighter, because they, or not Warfighter, excuse me, Medal of Honor 2010, because really, Medal of Honor didn't really have an identity past the whole World War II thing. I mean, they have a few other things as well, but in terms of entering this new era of modern shooters, that kind of, that outcry of realistic, they didn't really have it. It was a whole World War II thing, and it's like, how are we going to do this? Well, that's once again around the time EA started really just toying with the franchise, and they basically underfunded it too, which many people don't believe. Personally, I feel that the franchise in itself was heavily underfunded in terms of making these games, but that's obviously speculation. When Medal of Honor 2010 came out, many of you guys know it was developed by DICE, and it tried to capture both the Battlefield and the Call of Duty crowd, because EA, you guys know, they want that COD money. Oh my goodness, that's all they want. That's all they ever think about, is that COD money. That's what they want. So they try to get those COD players to play our game. Hey, look, we got in a sense support actions, which for most COD players relate to as kill streaks. But look at it. Look at this Battlefield players. Look, you can incorporate tactics. You can play as a team and still do well. So they try to get both. I cannot talk right now. I do apologize. The best of both sides is what they tried to go for. It didn't work with 2010. Personally, I feel like they actually did a really, really good job. DICE did, even though I preferred the single player in terms of just overall experience. The multiplayer was really good, and if they, a few things about it had just been better developed. Personally, it's the best first-person shooter out there in that kind of respect when it crosses both of them, the fast-paced and the strategic. After Medal of Honor 2010 basically failed, Warfighter came around, and lead developer of Danger Close, Greg Goodrich, which many of you guys know the whole situation what happened with him, he in himself, due to the outcry of us as gamers, wanting that realistic feel, and Medal of Honor not really having that identity as what do they have that brings something realistic. He went all or nothing. I mean, or basically double or nothing. He went for everything. He went for one shot to bring us the most realistic feeling game. The weapons, that you use in game. That's what the Special Operations Forces around the world use. The equipment, the freaking reloading animations is what those guys do. Those type of things is what Goodwrench went after. He wanted that. He wanted to bring that to us. Why? Because we cried for it. We wanted it so bad. So that's what he did. And what happened to him? Nobody knows. He's supposedly fired 2 months before release, although I guess he wasn't technically fired. I believe he's still employed at EA, but he was relieved of his position. Why? Because when you start to do that, when you start to get in the whole, what the Special Operations Forces use, you start to deal with the countries, and you start to get into legal matters and things like that. Why? Because we as gamers wanted that. We want that realistic feel. Goodwrench wanted us to feel like we're playing as a Polish Grom, or Navy SEAL, or Swedish Dog, anything like that. He wanted you to feel like that. But what happened? It failed. And so I think that in part has to deal with us as gamers wanting that outcry for that realistic feel. Now, obviously, once again, it's not, the sole reason. There are many things. People say it was EA's fault or anything like that in terms of the franchise failing. Underfunding is another one. Those are certainly great arguments you can make. But I think that us as gamers, we played a huge role in this that I think many people don't realize. If you enjoyed this comment series, perhaps consider rating it. I would appreciate it very much. And please leave your thoughts about it below in the comment section. Catch you guys later. Bye.